Hello and welcome to Straight from the Cloverfield, episode 74. I'm your host Ralph. Today's topic is panspermia, theory or fact. They had an interesting show on about panspermia on the Y Files, which has some interesting information. We thought that it would be interesting to talk about this theory or fact because it seems like something that people should know. Panspermia is a theory in which Earth was seeded by either a comet or an intelligent race. So that raises more questions when we think about that. And it says, we wrote down, was it seeded by a comet or intelligent race? Nature seeds Earth with comets that contain life. This takes many years to take form. Did an intelligent race seed Earth to create humanity with seeds of their own? Perhaps it was to see if we could find our way back to them through our own free will. Is that the law of free will? So they weren't interfering with us, with humans. So we were writing this, thinking about all this, asking lots of questions, and this came to us. So I'm going to read it as it came. An intelligent race seeded Earth with their own seed to hurry the evolutionary process of humanity up so they could live long enough to see humans' cosmic awakening, where they hand us their staff of knowledge and go into a much-needed rest. Your parents, the ones that seeded Earth with their seed, they seeded Earth with you. You can never physically see them because in order for you to embrace your evolutionary progression, they must rest. They seeded you in a way in which they were not directly in contact with the earth. Please do not hate them, for they love you more than you will ever know. Your behavior for millennia has caused them to sacrifice much-needed slumber. So that's the answer that we got when we brought all these questions down. So we figured we would share what we came to know, which also opened a whole bunch of new questions like who is these individuals and how exactly did they spread this seed to make humanity come about, which was more of the questions. It seems to like give birth to even more questions when we try to figure out the origins of humanity and other beings. So, they discussed on the Y Files about how these things called tardigrades or water bears, as known, cells, it's a type of organism that found in water. And they sent them to the moon and into space, and they survived, not all of them, but they survived all those conditions. There are some that were able to survive all those conditions, which was pretty interesting, that most beings would not be able to survive this extreme heat and cold and go through all that. So, in essence, humans did to the water bears what this intelligent race beings did to plant humans. So they put the water bears on the moon, and I guess, so then water bears on the moon would believe that that was their home, that were born there, for the ones that survived. And all that is a lot to process. And it's been rotating in my head, trying to figure out how to deliver this information that we are becoming aware of. So, another thing that came to mind was, maybe nature is trying to teach humanity what these beings that seeded Earth did with the way that a sea turtle, it just plants its eggs in the sand, and these beings never meet the parent that left them. So that's trying to maybe explain if for whatever reason those that seeded the planet with humanity, or as it said when we got the answers to it, saying that they did this to hurry up the evolutionary process so they could live long enough to see our cosmic awakening, human cosmic awakening, which means they probably had like a life they had a life and death, and they wanted to observe humanity and hope they came back home to them, but they were inside them the whole time. And see, there's all this stuff that just like popcorn popping, like now what? And it seems to, more questions seem to come about than answers that we're looking for. But that's basically what came to mind, was that these beings seeded the earth in a way that would speed up the evolutionary process of humanity. And so it was in a way where they wouldn't have direct contact with the earth, because they probably did not want to be looked at as some kind of god or whatever. And I believe that there are other things that came here to try and play that and screw around with humanity, and with all those biblical references of the giants and all that. I think that some beings like spontaneously manifested or something, and they mess with humans. And whatever these intelligent race that stayed out of humanity, they didn't want to interfere with humanity at all, because they knew the law of free will, and they wanted humanity to come to inner knowledge that you may never know this intelligent race, but it's inside you, and you are one with it, even though you can't physically meet them, like the butterfly and the caterpillar. The butterfly and the caterpillar don't meet. The caterpillar becomes the butterfly. So that's another lesson in nature, trying to teach us exactly what happened. And it's hard to put into words, so that I'm trying to explain it in a way that would make sense. Because many individuals still unanswer the question of where exactly did humanity come from? And then the God concept has been misconstrued and used to make people devolve instead of evolve. Realizing that no matter what, how physically we came about, that on the inside is the infinite soul that lives for all eternity. That infinite inner soul life force that is in everybody. And this is a whole point of probably why they seeded it to be as such, to see if we could all come together as one force and overpower those who seek to play God and be God. Source, God, whatever you want to call it, is the life force within. And like the butterfly does not meet the caterpillar becomes the butterfly. That's like becoming the infinite soul within that becomes aware of the present moment and does not fall into the trap of past mistakes that you made. because somehow the mind can't let go of what do you call it? The mind can't seem to let go of, man, I am not finding words today that I'm trying to describe. This is really hard. And I'm really, really trying my hardest to put this into words. But the mind likes to chastise itself for decisions it made in the past. But that's in the past. You got to find yourself in the present moment. And treat others the way that you wish to be treated, which is the whole point, what most people understand, which I hope they do. Be kind to one another. Not everybody learn the same way. Everybody have their own unique language, inner language. So that's the whole point of trying to show everybody things in a way that they can understand. And that's the true teacher, spiritual teacher will be able to translate in what somebody else can understand. So that's really what we're trying to do. And really, I think you should check out the Y files and panspermia, because I found it very interesting. And I found it interesting that we got an answer to what we were asking about when we started doing the script. Scolenta was working on the script, and all of a sudden this just came right to her. And I don't know where it came from, but I hope it was helpful. And there's always more questions to find out and discuss. And it's always interesting to get the feedback of others. So if you have feedback, make a show, get it out there, write a book, draw, express yourself however you do. And I suggest you listen to that. Like I said, the Y Files on Panspermia, the latest show. And then also check out Cosmic Abandonment by Mark Passio, because that gives that biblical account of those some beings that interfere with humanity to play God. And then the dark priest class that want to be God and are trying everything that they can to call the masses. And with the unhealthy foods they have, and an overload of vaccine, and sometimes they really overprescribe medication, but there's medication that people need. I understand that. But there's eugenics going on because they're trying to make people weak so they can control them. But remember, those that are trying to do this with all the nonsense are not outnumbered by the people who know and are learning and waking up and teaching. So we can do this together. Teach what we know. So I hope this was helpful, and I will see you on the next one.